Oh,
I have mine pulled up. Okay. I'll link it here. No one here yet, which is nice.
are we live right now?
Yeah,
Okay. Well, introduce us.
I will once there's no second.
it's so it's so shady.
That's sent. Dude, I don't even know what to do until someone gets here.
We start because we're gonna post it.
Oh yeah, you're right. I forgot all this goes out too. So what if
so
I?
start.
Yeah, I wanna. Okay. Well, hey everyone, welcome back to the Get Rich DFS NASCAR podcast breakdown. It's your host Joshua Barzell and Virgil Jeffries. Virgil, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I think we got a fun one here finally. Just a traditional oval. So no super speedway, no road course. Just good old dominators and place differential.
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely gonna be a very welcome change to, have it actually matter what's gonna happen in the race. And I think we have a really interesting way to go about this today, especially with these alternate tires. Virgil, can you explain those a little bit?
All right. So for this race at Phoenix, we are running a an alternate tire. You get two sets of a soft tire, and essentially the soft tire makes your lap times go insanely fast. So if you're on soft tires versus normal tires, you're going to be flying, but you only have two sets, and they do wear pretty quickly. So I am expecting drivers to not use them early and probably keep them for the third stage so they can go for the win. Now that could play in that some drivers might use them like in stage one and stage two to get some stage points because they realize they can't win. It's pretty much impossible to tell because it's going to be largely based on how the race goes and what teams are in what position to do what. So we're not going to focus too much on it, but it is something to keep in mind.
Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting, especially when you look back to last year, the last time they used these option tires. We had a little bit of what I would like to call sorry for the language. I like to call it fuckery in terms of Daniel Suarez somehow putting himself in the lead for 100 laps at Richmond. So I think these alternate tires are going to have a pretty big impact on the race today, but we'll have to wait and see how they really go about it. There's really not much else we can do other than picking the fastest drivers and going from there.
Yeah, we're just going to pick the best cars, not worry too much about the tires, let the teams do their strategies. Hopefully, everybody finishes well, and we get a nice, clean, good oval. And I think the whole reason these tires were even introduced because they're only at I think they're only introduced at Phoenix, right? And I think
Uh,
that's just because
yeah, I think it's
were they at a different
Phoenix.
track?
Yeah, I think it's Phoenix and Richmond. It's the short flats. It's to make them more interesting.
Yeah, because without these flat tire options, or not these flat tires, without these soft tire options, it's virtually impossible to pass to a degree. If your car is faster, you will pass on normal tires, but I think these tires really spice up how the race can actually go because in the past, it has been just kind of a line to the end, but the
Oh yeah,
tires definitely will differentiate it.
no, it definitely makes it a much better race overall. And also, hello to you guys. Welcome you in. I see we have a few people here. Hi, TN Guru. Appreciate you stopping by to listen to the breakdown. We're gonna start getting to that now. By the way, we're gonna go high to low, who we like, who we don't like, what we're trying to get to here. We're also doing a 150 max for the slate between for Get Rich DFS. So trying to give a little bit of insight to where we're going with that. But starting to break it down, Virgil, who do you think? I mean, I know this is really quick to ask this, but just looking at the practice, who do you think's your favorite play today?
Favorite play based solely off the practice? Yeah, we're gonna go with William Byron. I think William Byron is on the pole for a reason. He is fast. That
Yeah.
car is ridiculous, and I mean it's Hendrick Motorsports, so it should be suspected. But I kind of thought Penske would bring more to the table, and it seems like Penske did not bring as much to the table as these Chevys did. So starting on the pole, I expect Byron to lead at least the first stage of laps. I don't see Joey Logano getting around him. It could happen, but I don't see Byron not leading at least the first stage. And then Byron also has the additional bonus of being in the best pit stall for the week because he qualified on the pole, which means he's going to have faster times on pit road. It's going to be hard to get away from playing Byron a lot. Is
No,
what we're saying.
I'm gonna have to agree with you there. I feel like Byron, especially with the combination of having the first pit stall and having the just I mean we saw it yesterday with Alex Bowman. It was quite obvious he didn't have the fastest car in Xfinity, but because he had that first pit stall on the starting spot with the clean air, he was just able to run away with the race. I mean, he started first, ended third, and still had I think the third most DFS points on the day. So I feel like it's gonna be
And
really
it's
really
not
hard.
even just that, Josh. I'm actually looking at his history now too. I mean, the past out of the past four races, three of them he's ran in the top five for like the entire race, and then
Yeah,
he had one where he ran in the top 10. so, so
yeah.
William Byron is definitely coming in as the favorite today.
No, when we're looking at that average running position sitting around 3.7, 9.8, 3.38, I mean, it is nearly impossible to get away from someone like Byron, especially when you know they're going to lead the laps. I mean, I know Joey won his championship here in Phoenix, but I cannot see him having the speed to get around Byron early today, or if I'm being honest, at all. Well, looking
Right?
at
Yeah. So, do we want to maybe address the guys at the top then, get them out of the way? Because there's three drivers at the top. I think that each deserve a good mention.
I think we really need to touch on someone like Kyle Larson here. I mean, we have another guy here in a Hendrick car, one of the best cars that you can be in. He has speed. I mean, I don't really think there's another way to say it, but Larson has some of the best speed today. I think it's going to shine through. I mean, this play's a little bit tricky in large. There's a lot of guys starting up front that you're really going to want to pick up on and keep around, but I think Larson is definitely one of those. How do you feel about him?
I like Larson because Larson is also starting 17th, which means he offers a good amount of upside too. If you figure he's probably going to get into the top five at worst. His history over the past four races here at Phoenix, running in the top five, top 10-ish area. He had one bad race where he ran in like 16th position, but even if he's not going to kill your lineups.
Yep.
Definitely like him. I think he can get up and lead. I think he's a great play on the day.
No, I think you make a great point there. I feel like Larson is just it's another one you can't get away. I mean, there's gonna be a few guys on the slate where either between their speed and their skill or just even the car they're in, it's really hard to move away from them. So I mean, moving on to get
Yeah, I mean
another look.
Larson is probably the best driver in
Yeah,
NASCAR right now.
yeah,
So
that's pretty hard for me to fight you on. I think for me the next big guy that I want to touch on, and trust me, I know he's one of your favorites today, but looking at Tyler Reddick, what's the story
Tyler
behind Reddick?
Reddick. Tyler Reddick. So Tyler Reddick's funny because apparently everybody hates Tyler Reddick, and I don't exactly understand why. I'm looking at his past history here. Again, we're looking at a guy who's typically running in the top 10, running in the top five sometimes. Outside of like one bad race, his car looked pretty fast in practice, at least for the first stint. He graded out really well. His fall off is not that bad. And the other good thing about Tyler Reddick is I don't think that many people are going to be playing Tyler Reddick because why would you pick Tyler Reddick when you could get an easy place differential value in Chase Briscoe? You could get a Hendrick car and Elliott. I mean, the people around him. I think he's
No.
going to go under owned, and I think he's a guy that can if not lead, at least get a top three finish, maybe. But I do think he can win the race today. I think he shows promises of speed. I think he's a good tournament pivot because everyone's going to be on, Byron, Larson, and a couple others at the top that we haven't mentioned yet. What do you think of him?
I mean, like you said, and I'm not gonna lie, these are guys that I like too. But when you're looking around him, you have that Chase Briscoe, Ross Chastain, Chase Elliott. I mean, looking at three guys who are really similar in salary, who have immense upside in terms of their place differential today, and really hard to get away from. I mean, for me, and you guys saw it in the article today, in the core four, we have Chase Briscoe. I mean, you have a driver who's won here in 2022, has had good runs. I mean, when you're taking the step up from the Stewart Haas racing car to the Joe Gibbs car, I mean, it's really hard to imagine you're not going to just get better, especially at a track you're already solid at. So I feel like Chase Briscoe is one of the top plays today just because he has. I mean, we knew he had the speed, but now he has the car to back it up. It's going to be really hard for me to get away from him.
Yeah, and starting 30th, I mean, it's so much upside. I mean, even before Chase Briscoe got into this new car, it seemed like he was running up near the top 15, at least top 20 at worst. So, I mean, I could see honestly a top 15, top 10, maybe even out of Chase Briscoe. And Briscoe did have a pretty surprisingly decent run, I think, overall at Coda, which I think speaks to how this car is going to really influence and take him to the next level in his career.
No, I have to agree. I feel like especially at Coda when I mean Briscoe's not one of the best road course racers, but because he's in a Joe Gibbs car now, he's able to flick around the speed like we haven't been able to see him before. So I think it's definitely a level up for him. Now we're gonna drop a little
I
bit
think
into a little bit.
before Hold on, I think before we move on, I think we should make our mentions on the two top guys on the slate. I think we should talk
Oh.
about Christopher Bell and Ryan Blaney. I don't think we can, call ourselves a NASCAR podcast
Yeah,
and not touch on these guys.
yeah. No, you're right. You make a good point there. Well, so guys, as you see here, we have Ryan Blaney and we have Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell is currently the hottest driver in NASCAR. And Ryan Blaney is possibly the best racer at Phoenix I think we've ever seen. So there's not much else you can say here. You need to have some Ryan Blaney. You need to have some Christopher Bell. You know for a fact they're gonna have two of the best days out there. The speed's there, the talent's there, the track history is there for both of them. I mean, try, if you guys can find a way to get away from them consistently, let me know because I'm still trying to figure out one. But
I mean, yeah, they're gonna have a lot of ownership on the day too, but I mean, their history is just impeccable. I mean, looking at Ryan Blaney, ru- I mean, running in the top 10 consistently, top five. What is it? It's like Yeah, it's 4 straight finishes in the top 5, and 3 of those are runner-up finishes. He seems to be the most unlucky driver when it comes to actually getting the win. I think Christopher Bell right up there with the same type of numbers and all the momentum that Bell is carrying into the weekend. I wouldn't say they're my favorite dominators just because I prefer William Byron and Kyle Larson because Larson offers more upside and Byron's got that pole position and that good pit box, and I expect him to run up front and get most of the lap lead and fastest lap points. But I mean, you gotta look at them. You gotta recognize that they are there, and their cars didn't show the fastest speeds, but I don't think it's gonna matter to a certain degree. They're both top 5 candidates for sure.
I agree. I mean, like you said, they're not my favorites, and their speed was surprisingly lacking throughout practice. But like you said, they're two guys that are up there that you really can't pass on. Um, Now finally taking the dive into the value tier phase. One guy that we're not too high on, but I have to bring him up because again, just like Chase Briscoe, it's hard. It's hard. It's really hard to pass on a combination of a Joe Gibbs car and starting near the back. And I mean, we have Ty Gibbs here. Gibbs has had one of the worst starts to the season that I could imagine. I mean, he's really showing that nepo baby talent right now. But I don't know. I mean, Gibbs he's
Ty
not a
Gibbs
he's not a bad
is
driver.
an interesting pick on the day.
Yeah, he's not a bad driver. I mean,
Yeah, no, he's
personally,
okay.
I think you have to be under on him
Yeah.
on the field. I mean, he's
I
such a
would
confusing
agree,
play.
and he was projecting like 40%, right?
Yeah, no, he's projecting. I think the second highest ownership next to the next guy we're going to talk about.
But the problem with Ty Gibbs that I'm having, and the reason why I think we should go under on him and not be completely pulled to Ty Gibbs, is that his practice was abysmal. I don't know what was wrong with this car in practice, and I assume whatever it is, they're gonna fix it. And I hope, that he's probably gonna run, top 20 or top 15, but like the practice numbers I'm looking at are just I don't know what was off.
No, there's something going on there for sure. I mean, it doesn't make sense how slow he was, especially when you see on the sheet right now. We have his overall average for the practice being around 28,443, which is I think it's like bottom 3 on the day, which is surprising when you're thinking of someone of Ty Gibbs' caliber. I mean, you can't completely fade him if you're making say 20 lines, but if you're doing a three lineup max, I really don't love the idea of taking Ty Gibbs in there. I mean, if you get away from him, you get to differentiate from most people, which is a great way to go, especially when you're building for tournaments. He's not a bad cash game play, but not my favorite.
I think
But
he's a great cash game play, but I mean, do looking at his practice numbers and looking at how bad they are, to be fair to his credit, he did have a better second stint. I suspect that as long as the card goes as expected, that he should creep into the top 20. But he's kind of like one of those guys that's like all the ownership's going to go to him. So when you're making for a tournament line, it's kind of like, can we get away from it maybe?
yeah,
I think you should consider playing him. And I think his second stint was much better, but you
no,
should look
I have
for
to agree.
alternatives.
Now, I will say, moving past Ty Gibbs, we get to my actual favorite cash game play on the slate. We got Alex Bowman here. I mean,
This is the
Alex
pivot.
Bowman, he's in a Hendrick car. He's starting 32nd. He's $7,800. I really don't know how you can move away from him today.
He should be a fantastic pick. Here, let's look at his history. Yeah, pretty much running in, top 20, up near the top 15 over the past four races. I'm
Yep.
not too worried about it. The car didn't struggle in practice, so we don't have that added kind of scare factor that Gibbs gives us. I like Bowman.
Yeah, no,
Bowman should be a good filler and
it's
decent price point, 7,800.
yep, no, it's the combination between that and his speed that he had on the day that it's really hard to move away from him. I mean, it'd be one thing if he was practicing averaging in like 30th or 25th, but he's a top 15 car. I mean, it's Alex Bowman and a Hendrick. We saw what he did yesterday. I think it's gonna be pretty hard to get him away from a top 15 finish, top 10, and if he's doing that, he's gonna be optimal. Um,
For sure.
so when we're looking past Bowman, this is where it gets kind of tricky because there's not much value on this slate, but there are a few guys that we have our eyes on. One of them, and this is gonna sound crazy because he's starting third, but Carson Hocevar, Virgil, how you feeling about him?
Carson Hocevar is the ultimate tournament play. If you're doing like three or five or maybe even like 10 hand built lines, you're probably not getting to him. But once you start going beyond there, Carson Hocevar, he looked decently fast. Like his times were pretty good on the first stint he ran. Here, let me look at Carson's times more in depth on my end. Yeah, I
No,
mean,
Carson, he is he I. You guys remember those Jimmy John's commercials where he's freaky good, freaky fast? I think Carson Hocevar today is the definition of freaky fast. I mean, if you look at his 5, 10, 15, 20 lap averages, and in 20 lap averages he was third, in 15 lap averages he was first, in 10 lap average he slowed down a little bit and got to seventh. But I
and that
mean,
tracks to him being able to run that consistently too over a run.
yeah,
Looking at the data, he was able to do that consistently. So it's not just like he's, putting on new tires and just running really good laps. It's that he actually has pretty decent manage of his fall off and could maybe see leading some laps today. But honestly, at $6,900, you don't even need to lead laps. If he
no,
finishes in like the top eight, he's going to pay off his salary pretty easily.
yeah, no. I mean, we know he's gonna hit value. We just as long as he avoids a wreck and sticks, I believe top 10. I mean, he's gonna pay it off here at 6,900. I think he has a chance to be a great low owned play for you guys. I think his projected ownership right now is around 7%. So um, he I
He's
think
a
I think
very fun tournament play.
I think
He's
we're gonna
kind of
have to.
risky, but he's very
I
fun.
think personally for me, looking at the data more, I mean, this is scary to say, but I think Carson's my favorite tournament play on the day. I mean,
That's a brave take.
sometimes you gotta have him. He has the low ownership we want. He has the blazing speed we want. I mean, I really don't see how you can get away from him if it's up in the air. That's
The
just
other
me
good thing
personally though.
going for Carson too is that he actually does have, a decent running here. Running, last race he ran the championship. He ran like a 12.3.
Yeah.
So it's not quite third place, but we've seen Carson stick around kind of where he started outside of Daytona, where he had a fuel pressure issue. I mean, he was really
Yep.
good at Coda, and he started up front for a while too. So
Yeah. No, I feel like
I
he's
like
been
it.
surprising all season. And I mean, I know he made some questionable moves at Atlanta, but he was driving through the pack at a super speedway, and I think that speaks for itself with it being impressive. So,
His aggressive nature should only play into getting a better finish.
yep.
Hopefully, he can
Now,
stick it out. Definitely a risky tournament play. Get to him when you're making more than like 5 lines, I'd say.
yep. Now we're gonna group these last two together as if it was any other day, we would not be playing them, but there's no value here at this slate, so we're gonna be talking about Zane Smith and John Hunter Nemechek kind of together. Um, they're very similar plays, guys. I mean, neither have great history here, neither are in great equipment, but I mean, it's not terrible. Zane Smith in his front row motorsports ride, and John Hunter Nemechek in his legacy motorsports club. I mean, these are the guys that you need in order to jam in who's up top. I mean, Virgil, of these two, who's your favorite?
Out of these two, I think my favorite is gonna have to be John Hunter Nemchuk, just because he is starting 10 positions back, and he does have better running averages here than Zane Smith. Now, I don't think his car is as good as Zane Smith's, but I think that added upside helps. And then I look at the people that's like gonna be around him, and we're looking at drivers coming back like Cody Ware, Catherine Lidgy,
Oh
Ty
God,
Dillon,
these are some
Todd
names.
Gilliland. These
These are
are some
some
drivers
names.
that I think he could pass. I think he could get around these guys, and at
Yeah,
worst get a top 25. So
yeah. No, I'm
I'd
gonna have to
lean them
agree.
check.
Yeah, no, I think Nemtek's definitely the better play just because of the 10 extra spots of PD. But on the other hand, I think Zane Smith did show legitimate speed during practice. I mean, obviously, guys, when we're looking at 5,500 drivers, we're not really looking at guys who we think are going to win the race, but they do have a chance to make some moves, get up, gain 10 or so spots. I mean, I don't think it's too far fetched to try to get a top 15 even out of Zane Smith. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Well,
I know I'm pushing it, but we look
you are
right
pushing
here.
it.
Look right here in the 20 lap average. Zane Smith slots in right at 13th. It's pretty solid for me.
He did show some decent speed for the back. He did show some decent speed for the back. He's a good pivot to get to when if you need a low guy and you want to get off John Hunter because you have so much John Hunter. I'd
Yep.
say those two are like the guys I would play with from the back. Preferably just one in a line though.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna have to agree. Well, so Virgil, now that we've gone through all of our drivers and everything, I gotta ask, who you feeling as your core plays today? I mean, we'll do it like we did last week. You give two core plays, I'll give two core plays, and I'll move from there. So for you, who's your number one core play that everyone listening needs to throw in their lineups this week?
William Byron, William Byron, William Byron. If we could
Yeah,
pick William Byron 6 times, we would pick William Byron 6 times. Like, he
yeah.
really is the fastest car with some of the best running history here in the best team's equipment. I mean, come on. Like,
I
he's a shoe in the pick.
I don't think we can move away from Byron today. I mean, you have top five speed, Hendrick Carr, number one starting position, best pit box. Everything is going in his favor. I think Byron's definitely going to be the best play in my opinion on this slate. But moving past Byron, try to get to another core four play. I'm going to take Chase Briscoe. I mean, he won here 2022. Doesn't have the greatest recent history, but that was in that Stuart Haas equipment. You have the JGR car. I think Briscoe starting 30th. He's the PD, gives you a top 10. He's optimal. So I'm gonna have to go Chase Briscoe for my next pick.
I think for my next one, I'm gonna steal away the superstar himself, Kyle Larson, starting 17th. Again,
Ooh,
another Hendrick Motorsports car, another guy that could get up there and lead the race. I mean, he's a great pick. If you could pair him with Byron, fantastic. I think there's a chance Larson can lead laps. And I mean, starting 17th, you don't even need laps to be optimal. You just need like a top five, top
no,
three, pick up some fastest laps.
no, I think you make a
I
great
really like
point
Kyle
there.
Larson.
Yeah, no, Kyle Larson's a great play. I mean, we saw this weekend. He's another one who's blazing fast. So I really can't fight you on that. Now, don't worry, guys. We're not just gonna give you all the highest price plays on the slate and be like that. I'm gonna dig in the depths here, and I know we said we don't love him, but I'm gonna have to give you John Hunter Nemchek. I I know, but he's 5,300. We really need the salary relief. If we just give you all the top guys in the core four, you're gonna be left scrambling. Can't do that. So I feel like John Hunter Nemchek's one of the top plays today. I mean, not not top plays in terms of where he's gonna finish, but top plays in terms of value. Yeah, $5,300 driver starting 36 with halfway decent speed. I mean, if we can even get a top 20 on this guy, we're sitting pretty. So John Hunter Nemchek's going to be my fourth member of that core four. Um,
And
now,
then aside from the core four, but let's if you are having salary issues, because I know we kind of skipped over some drivers in that mid tier, I think you could definitely fill lines out with, Bubba Wallace or Daniel Suarez. They both offer some decent upside and should finish higher than where they are starting. I mean, Bubba Wallace, 19th, 2311 car, fantastic Toyota, same equipment that Tyler Reddick's riding in.
yep.
I, decent history at this track. Daniel Suarez, same guy, top 15 normally, should move up. He's a little risky because he's been kind of wrecking out a lot, but those guys could really save you on salary if you need them.
No, I definitely have to agree. I mean, you have to go down there. I'm not going to put him as part of the core four because he is a risky tournament play. But I do love me some good Carson Hocevar today, as you guys know, as well as Virgil. I think that's where we're gonna plant our flag as our bold take of the day. Is it's gonna have to be Carson Hocevar. I mean, we're sitting at I believe 20% in our 70 in our 150 max, so we're well over the field, more than double. I think I think what he needs to do to give us the value we need is not that hard for him, especially with the speed he's shown. So Hocevar is going to be the other honorable mention just off the core four for me.
Yeah, we really just need a top 10 out of him,
Yep.
which I think he can get. He's shown promise.
Yep. Now I will say before we wrap up, I see we have a few people watching the stream. Just like I ask, if you guys have any questions on your builds, any recommendations you're looking for, any advice you want, key drivers you're picking between, we'll stay on for a few more minutes here to try to see if there's any feedback, any questions you have. So if you could just drop them in the chat, we'll read them, get back to you with advice, help you decide decipher through any questions you got, any one or the other picks or anything like that. So in the meantime, I'll wait for any questions to roll in if there are any. I actually want to touch a little bit on the DFS side today. Not my bad, not the DFS side, the sportsbook side today, which I know we've neglected, but I was looking through the driver props, and I feel like there's some really good ways to. I mean, I'm not gonna call it free money, but really nice ways to make some money today. So I mean, pulling that up, the first thing that I'm gonna have to look at is so if you go to the NASCAR Cup race and you look at the driver prop matchups, there's a few that stand out to me here. Number one for me at least is the first prop there is, which is going to be Ryan Blaney versus Joey Logano. I mean, Joey did not show the speed we were thinking here. He does have the starting position, which we will come to find is very important at Phoenix, but Ryan Blaney is a top five machine. He's probably the best driver I think we've ever seen here at this course. I mean, I think I really think we're gonna have to go Ryan Blaney in this matchup. Scrolling down a little bit just to take a look
Yeah,
at a few
I
more
would agree.
things. You have Alex Bowman versus Ty Gibbs in another. I think Alex Bowman at minus 130 is extremely solid. I mean, we have two similar drivers here starting at about the same position. Bowman with a better car. I really don't see how you can get away from Bowman here. Virgil, how are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I prefer Bowman over Gibbs any day, especially with Gibbs' trouble in the first stint on his practice. So,
Yep.
yeah, I mean, I'd go with Bowman.
I mean, another one that I'm gonna ask you real quick is Chris Buescher and Brad Keselowski. Who you feeling there?
Yeah, I'm taking Chris Buescher every day of the week, man. I think Brad Keselowski is just kind of slow, lazy, and just bad.
And
But Chris Buescher shows promise,
yeah, no, hands down, I'm
and
gonna
he's
have
also
to.
starting 7 positions in front.
Yeah, hands down, I'm gonna have to agree. Oh, we do have a question here from Matthew Lafonte. Who are the Oh, Virgil, today, who are the two drivers you're gonna want to pair together?
Two drivers we're gonna want to pair together. We're gonna want to pair
For my bad, two dominators,
probably William.
two
Two
dominators.
dominators we're gonna want to pair together. All right, I'm thinking
I
as
think I know
basic
your
as it is. I
answer.
think we want to do Byron Larson.
You're thinking Byron
Byron
Larson.
Larson or like Byron Reddick.
Yeah, that's not what I was expecting. Yeah, that's what I was thinking we were gonna get a Byron Reddick. So I mean,
Yeah, Byron Reddick too is really good. I like both of them pretty much equally.
obviously Matthew. I mean, salary when you're going Byron Larson, a little bit harder to hit. They're both in the core four, and I know Larson's starting 17th, but we saw yesterday with Justin Allgaier in the Xfinity race where he was starting 14th and he led the most laps. So I th- I think Byron Larson or Byron Reddick are the two best options to try to pump in two dominators, but I really see a situation where we have Byron leading 150 to 200 of our laps today.
Yeah, very easily.
Yep. Now I will say, touching back on the sportsbook side real quick. Virgil, this is a dumb question, but who you feeling? William Byron or Joey Logano?
William Byron. Is that even a question?
No.
So Joey Logano won here that one time. Fate would have it. Probably rigged. I don't know how he won after having such not that great history here.
Yeah.
Byron is definitely the preferred.
Yeah, no. For me, I'm definitely gonna have to go William Byron. I mean, I can't get away from him, especially when you're going up against Joey Logano. So that's gonna be a major pick for me. And that I mean it's minus 130. You're letting a little bit of juice, but if you can parlay a few of these together, I think you really have a good option to make some money. And that's gonna be Byron over Logano minus 130, Busher over Keselowski at minus 115, Bowman over Gibbs at minus 130, and then Blaney over Logano at minus 130. I mean, it's not the greatest odds, but put them all together, you have a pretty good parlay to sit on. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
just a little quick cash grab, hopefully.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's all from us today. I didn't see any other questions, but thank you guys for tuning in. So after this video is over, it's just gonna go to our live section. You're gonna be able to watch it, pick out the parts you want to see, all that kind of stuff. So again, thank you for coming to another edition of our NASCAR breakdown. We appreciate you having you here and having the questions. Good luck today, everyone. I'll put out one or two more things on Twitter, but other than that, I think I'm pretty good. Virgil, you have anything else you want to end off on?
Yeah, man. Let's make some money. Let's have a good day. Fun day at Phoenix. if anyone's watching the race,
Yeah.
hope you enjoy it. Hope the soft tires make it real interesting.
It
Be
should.
cool.
Should do something. But yeah, have a nice day, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Goodbye.
All right.